Hello, everyone. Happy Women's History Month. We're back in the corner. Hope everyone's having a good spring. I'll be honest, spring is not really springing for me as much as it could be. And I'm also a little under the weather, so that is not fun. But I'm not dead, so there's that. So yeah, hopefully over this Women's History Month, you've been looking at different women's work, women-led shows, reading books written by women, etc., etc. All the above. So today, I talked about this in a different video, but I'm going to review the first season of Moesha because I had never watched Moesha as a child, so I'm going to make that right. Well, I did make that right. So, we're going to give some background about Moesha. First of all, it was a sitcom. It was released January 23rd, 1996, and it aired until May 14th, 2001. The synopsis is: the series focuses on the life of an upper middle class black family through the eyes of a typical girl named Moesha. Her father, Frank, a widower and Saturn salesman, and later owner of his own dealership, Brother Saturn, which doesn't happen in the first season, has married Dee, the vice principal at Moesha's high school, much to Moesha's disapproval. So, now let's get into the cast. Brandy is Moesha, the singer, actress, model, songwriter. She's Moesha Denise Mo, is her nickname, Mitchell. And then the dad is William Allen Young as Franklin Frank Mitchell. Countess Vaughn as Kimberly Ann Kim Parker, who is one of Moesha's best friends. And then Moesha's little brother is Marcus T. Polk, I hope I said his name right, as Miles Mitchell. That's the little brother. He's maybe 8, I think, or 9. Lamont Bentley as Hakeem Campbell. He is their neighbor, but he's always there. He's also one of Moesha's best friends. Yvette Wilson as Andalusia Louise Andel Wilkerson. She owns a smoothie place that everybody goes to hang out. It's called The Den. And then Cheryl Lee Ralph as Deidre D. Mitchell. Her last name before is Moss. And then Shar Jackson as Denise Nisi Jackson. That's funny to give her a last name, the same last name as her own last name. That's also one of Moesha's best friends as well. So I'm going to talk about my favorite episode and my least favorite episode. So I actually have 2 favorite episodes. One is called Job. I did not put the number of the episode, but if you look it up also I watched it on Netflix, but it is also on Tubi, I think, and Tubi's free, so you don't have to worry about getting a subscription. So you can watch it there. So Moesha gets a promotion at her job, but it goes to her head. So she thinks she's grown. And ends up missing out on fun times with her friends and family, which is so funny because at the beginning of this episode, I'm gonna spoil it a little, even though the show's 30 years old. But she Dee is oh, if you're gonna be late, call. But then the role is reversed because she got this promotion, so she thinks she hot stuff, she thinks she grown. So when Dee, I always call him Daddy, and Miles go out, Moesha's the one that stays up and is if y'all gonna be late, you gotta call. So it's so funny. And then I put the Mother's Day episode, and I did not put any notes, but I'm just gonna wing it. But the Mother's Day episode, it almost made me cry because they don't say how Moesha's mom passed away, but Moesha does miss her. Obviously, it's Mother's Day. She misses her. She's having a hard time celebrating Dee. So yeah, but Miles he's younger, so he's more receptive to it. You know what I mean? And then Moesha goes to her mom's grave, and she has a necklace that's I guess it says best friend necklaces that one you have and the other person has. So she has that, and so she gives one half of the necklace to her mom on the grave, on the mausoleum. And then she has one. And she's like, "Oh, we'll be together forever." And I was about to cry the whole episode, y'all. And then her and Dee had a connection, and she got Dee flowers. She got Dee a really whack gift. She got her socks. I'm like, but she does make up for it. She gives Dee, some flowers, and Dee tells her she loves her. They hug. They connect. I was in work watching this, and I was about to cry on my lunch break. But it was such a great episode. It talks about, accepting, nothing wrong. Like, basically it says, it's okay to grieve, but, to also accept, the new people in your life. And so that was really sweet. And my least favorite episode was Million Boy March. So, they were like, there was like a bunch of churches, which, mind you, I'm like, these are churches. Well, I'm talking about church being, why is church misogynistic? It's kind of like a thing that people complain about often. So I don't know why I'm surprised by that. But basically, which I don't really think is per se a bad thing, but they wanted only men representatives for like a charity event. I guess to show, black men working together. But, Moesha and Kim come and shake up stuff. But what made my least favorite, so the guy's named Whitlock, who's the leader, he was still trying to cut Moesha out. From all of the playing. Like, she got everything. They got Jodeci, mind you, which I'm like, y'all a church organization, y'all got Jodeci? One of the most heathenist groups out there? Okay. But, when they were trying to do the newspaper shoot, the Whitlock was trying to cut Moesha out of the photo, but they were like, but, people convinced her to get in the photo because, yeah, she's the one who got Jodeci. She's the one that got the connections. And you trying to take her out? So that's why that was my least favorite. Okay, so we're going to go into the pros and cons and my overall opinion. The pros, the fashion and the hair. I'm going to make a video. I made one on TikTok and I put it on Instagram, but I used a song that is now copyright claimed on one of my other short videos I made about Brandy. So I'm going to have to redo it for YouTube, hopefully, depending on how I feel. Before I upload this, hopefully it'll be uploaded before. I'm going to make a short and talk about the fashions and the specific ones that I liked. So I'll probably try to do that like right after this one. Because, when you're sick, like you use all your energy for stuff, so then you get tired. So I'm just going to try and use up all of my energy right now. But yeah, Moesha always had the cutest outfits and the cutest hair. It was usually braids for the most part. And I love the representation it gave for protective styles. And whoever did the hair, the wardrobe and the hair were so creative on the show. It was like so great. Like the Mother's Day episode, she had this green two-piece. It was so cute. And just like all the braids and the micro, some of the braids were like curly, and some were, she had box braids, she had micro braids, she had like all kind of different stuff going on. She would they would have it like looking like updos and with curls and all these things, and it was just so cute. And then just like Raven, they had, or that's how Raven and Raven's home, they had life lessons, which made it wholesome, even though I will say they did have some raunchy stuff, but I didn't think it was bad. But we'll talk about that in a minute, actually, when we talk about the characters. I will say the only one that missed the mark for me on the lessons was when Moesha broke up Hakeem and his girlfriend Geneva, but Geneva was cheating, was two-timing him. I don't know if it's considered cheating if you already have a boyfriend and you get another boyfriend. It's definitely two-timing. So, but she felt bad about like breaking them up because Hakeem was sad, so she got them back together. Which I'm like, I didn't like that message because she ain't no good. She two-timing. She over here with you, and then she at her school. They were doing two different schools, and she's at her school with another guy. I didn't like that, but that was the only one I didn't like. Otherwise, they all had pretty good life lessons, The characters. I love the characters. So, Dee and Daddy's relationship, they were always horny, lol. I did like that they showed them being so in love and didn't shy away from like them talking about their own sexual lives, which I feel like was a little raunchy, which It's rated PG, but I don't know if it'll be rated PG today or if it'll be like PG-13 today. You know what I mean? And then I also like that they talked about Moesha about being sexually responsible. I feel like that was really good. As a teen show, sitcom, in that range. But that may be why they kind of were a little raunchy about stuff, because Moesha was like 16. It wasn't like she was like 9 as the main character. You know what I mean? And I think all the characters were great and brought their own fun personalities to the show. And every character did things you would expect them to do and were great around each other. So I just loved everybody. Woo. Also, like That's So Raven and Raven's Home, they had funny comedic timing, very culturally relevant jokes. I loved the show. They had so many culturally relevant jokes at the time. They would talk about different, musicians and joke each other about different stuff. Like one joke was like, I can't believe people thought Eddie Murphy was funny. And then the dad was like, well, people gonna be saying the same thing about Martin, which the dad was actually wrong about that, because people still love Martin. You know what I mean? So it made it seem so nostalgic and brought back my own memories of being a 90s kid, of being a 90s baby, because I was born in 91. So that was fun. So my cons. Kim's weight comments and her obsession with Hakeem. I really hated in the beginning of the series that Kim's weight kept being used as an insult, and she was not even fat. Like, I don't understand why people kept making fun of her. But then again, I feel like the standards for like what is considered plus size, it does kind of vary, I guess, throughout the generations. But when you look back on some of the things, like I was looking at this clip or this tweet about Takara being like one of the first plus size models on America's Next Top Model, and when people look back, they're like, she wasn't that plus size. So I guess it varies, but I didn't like that. And I also hated her chasing after Hakeem when he clearly didn't want her. And I really hate that trope, like women and teenage girls need to see healthy relationships and not one-sided obsessions, which they carry that on, except for not with Kim, but with Nikki and the Parkers when they did the spinoff with Kim. I hate that trope. It's like you could just find someone who actually likes you and you could have a nice, healthy relationship and not an obsession. And then my second con was cringe/outdated. Even though I loved most of the cultural references, some were cringy and outdated. However, of course, they fit into their time period. And I feel like every generation will think an older generation is cringy, you know what I mean? And I personally could see like all the, swag trends, like I was so swaggy, and Tumblr posts being roasted in the future, LOL. So, I mean, we had our own cringes, so. And then, this one's kind of funny. So, people would talk about Moesha being like annoying / a hater, LOL. And I could definitely see that. I can see that now. But she is a teenager. So, I mean, she's not going to be like the most mature person. She's a child, technically, you know what I mean? But I guess we'll see how things progress over the seasons to see if those traits stick or if she like matures. So, but I totally get what people are saying. Like some of the the beginning episodes, she was just not being a good friend. And then I know I said and then even when she tried to break up Hakeem and Geneva, she felt like she wasn't being a bad friend. But of course, I disagree with that point. But in the beginning of the season, Kim becomes a cheerleader and Moesha doesn't, and Moesha starts acting real haterish. So I get it. So my overall opinion, I had so much fun watching this show. It was so funny and nostalgic. I'm so glad I finally watched it after not watching it as a kid. I feel like I love the representation of a dark-skinned lead actress and the protective style representation. And I also love how loving Dee and Dad's relationship was. And when they made mistakes, they worked it out and owned up to their mistakes. And I would definitely keep watching the season. And I would give it a 9 out of 10. Loved it. But yeah, so, like I said, speaking of poetry, I need to get ready for Poetry Month, which is like now 2 days away. Well, it'll be 1 day away when you see this. But I thought I could give my what am I trying to say? I want to pitch a reboot of Moesha, or like a continuation, kind of like Raylan's Home. So, this is my idea. Okay, so let me give some background information. Spoiler alert. So, at the end of season, I think they had 5 seasons or 6. I think it was 5. Moesha's in college. She's with Hakeem. I forgot Kim is with someone, but I can't remember who. Because I was just reading a bunch of articles about the show. And either Kim or Moesha, I think they were like sweet mates. One of them is pregnant, but we don't know who. So it's like a cliffhanger that they left on, which they might be in talks of a reboot. But this is my idea. So with that knowledge in mind, this is my idea. Moesha is maybe like Raven, and we cut to her having her own family with Hakeem. If maybe they're married, maybe they're like just life partners, whatever. And they're living in their family's old house. I feel like that would be cute if they could go back to their old house, And the kids are making mistakes like she did, but she tries to be the cool mom and sometimes let them get away with too much. So I feel like that would be like what Moesha would want to be like. I don't want to be like my parents. I want to be the cool mom. That's what I'm thinking. So then she and her kids have to learn to compromise and balance their freedoms and responsibilities. So that could be a good life lesson episode, you know what I mean? And then Hakeem could be the clueless dad, because I feel like he would be like more kid-like, because even like from what I've seen from the first season, he's like not the most mature, you know what I mean? So I feel like, so the dad's trying to trick him into doing things Moesha finally puts her foot down on. So she says, don't do this, but they trick Hakeem into letting them do certain things. That's my idea. Then Hakeem and Moesha need to work together on being on the same page so they can raise their family without contradicting each other. So yeah, so I think that would be a good concept, and maybe you could throw Kim in there, and maybe they're neighbors. You go to Niecy, maybe Aunt Dell's still around, and then there's Nikki. Maybe a whole neighborhood of them all together. I feel like that'd be cute. You know what I mean? So that's my reboot idea for Moesha. And maybe they do the same thing Moesha does so that she catches on. So I feel like that'd be kind of an interesting reboot idea. I gotta find a network for it. So if you have any networks you think I should pitch this for, let me know in the comments. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Moesha. I had a great time watching it. It was so fun. It was so funny. And even wholesome at times. And, so yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I would definitely keep watching it. So let me know. Have you guys ever watched Moesha? Do you like Moesha? Do you not like her? You think she's a hater? Whatever you think, if you want to let me know in the comments. And I'll see you all next week and next month, technically, for Poetry Month.